of we have these tests.
Right.
And even with this, I have a definition.
Yeah. So, okay, so we're gonna write a letter, we're gonna put it in the agenda of the first week of June, and then.
Yes, so
please
I'll
keep
start
them-
writing the
keep them
letter.
Sent to us.
No, I don't have any,
Yeah.
any objection, all my comments are already.
The other thing I think we need to reinforce is that this year, the most normal thing for us to do would have to be increase the special maintenance, the maintenance fee, and we have not increased the maintenance fee because we knew it was coming this. But besides of these, we're gonna manage all the things by the cent. We are gonna pay $150,000 for insurance. We still have.
Increasing that.
No, we are not. We are not.
I have a little
Yeah,
update on the insurance
okay.
later.
So
Okay, anything else from you?
nothing else.
Okay, anything on the roofs? Let's talk about the roof project. Anything new that you say?
I think it's only Robert. Robert, you want to update us on the conversation with RT?
When are we meeting RT to
I
finalize?
think it's already.
Yeah, so RT spoke with them yesterday. I think it was yesterday. And that's also when I spoke with Avi in terms of putting everything, finalizing it into a contract. Avi is going to get that to us by the end of this week. So that I can send it to RT. RT is working with us, and what he said very clearly is we are geared up, ready to go. Once contract is signed on both sides, it would be probably maximum 3 weeks to get started, probably shorter than that. And so all he needs is a signed contract, and that he has his lawyer look over it, and then they would be good to go to get started.
Starting means start on permits,
No.
or just get started, just the 3 week include permitting?
I don't know.
Do you know, Robert, if the 3 weeks includes permitting?
The
Well, we already have the
permits,
permits, but we need to change.
No, this, change the
We
contract.
need to change two things.
Well, we can make sure that the permits that were submitted to the city were accurate.
Yeah,
So I'm assuming
they
you
are,
know that.
yeah.
Because the permits that I saw when I did a records request were all about Mansard, not about roofs.
No, we have a master and then we have
The sub
the sub for masters and for shingles. So that's already there. The only thing that we need to actually keep it, and also for the recertification, is that we need to keep it updated. And I think that the due date is middle of June, if I'm not mistaken. So we need to keep an eye out, and the contractor probably will give us a heads up on that. My only question about the negotiation process is that I really would like to understand, like, why we don't finalize all the items with the IT company. So I really would like to understand from the last that Robert sent, because nothing was changed except for the materials. So are we flattening all the outlook of the roof? Because my understanding is that the number is still the same. The condition is still the same, the number is still the same, not contemplating all the roof 1, 4 in Clubhouse. And I only see that the provision of the roof shingles and metalwork is already changed for standard. So if that is the decision, I need to understand why, because
It's not a decision.
Okay, well, if it's not decided, we're fine.
No.
Because I see Robert moving forward.
And I didn't have the chance to
neither discuss, neither make my comments, neither understand from the contractor what it is. And by the way, we need to send a letter to all. In order to get this going. So then we need to, before we finalize contract, we need to understand that we are all be on the same page on how is the contract go and why we don't actually have the bond.
Okay, can you do me a favor? Okay. Hold on, let's go one by one. Do me a favor. We actually discussed, and I told you, listen, because of your expertise, if you can please put in bullet points those items.
I have it,
Okay, so do you mind sharing it with us?
I need to share when the conversation with the.
No, but share it before the conversation with the contractor, not during the conversation with the
Okay,
contractor.
I will see.
What do you mean conversation?
I didn't understand.
I don't-
I understood the letter to the non-construction contractors, what was the other point? Bonds are not the same.
No, we're not gonna take home because I think that they have something in another job that they are not making it, go to another bond. And I say, I think this is completely wrong. So he needs to look with another insurance company in order to get bond for this job. So there is some sort of a comment that I couldn't digest. Okay.
I'm not wanting this process, but I know what is happening, so all of these, the letters to the other
You need
ones.
to unmute. I'm gonna mute here.
Not easy. So what I'm saying is that though I'm not very involved in this process, but the bond, the materials and the letters are always all above the table whenever we go to the contract. So to discuss the bond, to discuss the materials, and I believe Robert already have a preliminary discussion with them. So there's nothing falling behind.
It's not sharing.
And so what I was saying, but Robert's my.
And that means that I was held, like Tuesday, that I was even noticed.
Yeah.
And then canceled, without notice. And then I see Robert's email where he said, no, I spoke, didn't.
So Robert,
So
can
I
you-
think that communication is critical.
Yes, and Robert,
Something that is.
can Robert then
Okay.
explain, because I haven't been in the meeting
I
either.
We're busy and,
Yes.
even was wondering, what happened, because we
So-
were waiting.
Can Robert?
Yes. So,
I can bring.
Sorry, okay, you can bring it there. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
no,
It's
we
not
had,
simple.
we had, prior conversations prior to that conversation where us as a board looked at the scope of work and looked at what was being done there. We agreed on that scope of work, and really the main point, there were two main points and that I wanted to discuss with them. One was temporary protection. The other one was what it looks like with change orders, downspouts, other things like that. Downspouts are not going to be a huge expense. It's going to be probably maximum $5,000 to $10,000, give or take. That element of that is we will pay for that, but that's not going to be sort of included in the overall bid. However, it's a minor expense. The thing that I really stressed with him, and as we talked about change orders and other things, and he made it very clear, if they're short on plywood, if they're short on other elements that he had quoted us, and then it turned out they needed more, he's not going to charge us for that. He's not going to do an additional expense or a change order for things that he quoted us on. And so in that element, going into that meeting, we had the opportunity to provide prior to that meeting our input. And as we had agreed to that revised proposal, then what I said was what we are doing is taking this proposal, was sent it to our lawyer. He's putting that into a contract form according to how we want it, with terms and conditions that are spelt out clearly. When our lawyer sends that to us, then we send that to him for final review, and then we essentially sign the contract if both parties agree to that. In terms of the scope of work, that element of that was already pretty much secured. The only change that was done, which we knew about before, were the shingles themselves. But he said in the updated proposal, customer has choice on dimensional shingles, but not the presidential shake TL, the ones that we have a sample of in the clubhouse. And we all said that was okay. So what we are doing is taking there's two things. One, the negotiating factor that I went into is I am not going to grind them down to save $20,000-$30,000. We are entering hurricane season. We all agreed this is the contractor we want, both based on how they act, how they answered, their past experience, their references, and the price that they gave. To that end, my point in talking with him was aligning us together to ensure that we are partners in this and that we will not be nickel and dimed on every little small thing. And he said, no, you won't. The other important aspect was the temporary protection, which he is basically giving it to us at cost. And so with those two things secured, it was my opinion and my strategy. I'm not going to grind them down and save $20,000 or $5,000 or however much that will be and risk the aspect of, he says, this was our bottom line. You guys are driving too much. I'm out. So I believe we have the contractor that we all agreed that will do the job right with the price, quality, and time. And so therefore he is excited. He is now excited to do the project. Also on the aspect of the engineer, which Alan passed around for the enclosures. We take care of that and provide those drawings to him. And like, I think it was Alan who said, roofers want to just do, they want to get the drawings, they want to execute on those drawings. And that's what we will be delivering them. So that's the update on that. We are essentially waiting for the contract back from Avi, which he said would come by the end of this week. And then we can review that. And if we need a discussion with him about that, we can have that. But in other words, we need to look at what Avi sends us in contract form, and we need to turn around a quick decision that we agree to that. And my recommendation to the board is that we be reasonable, but we also we make sure we are protected. That's first and foremost. We make sure they are licensed and insured. That will be clear, and that is clear. And lastly, in terms of everything, the contract's not going to spell out every single item that we want, i.e. it will not say, 50 pallets of shingles, 24 pieces of plywood, whatever those numbers are. It's going to say they will, secure the mansards on 2 and 3. They will do the roof, and it lists out how they do it. And then we go there. So again, my recommendation is we get the review back, the contract back from Avi. We review that, and hopefully over the weekend, we come to a decision that, yes, this is fine. This covers us. We are good with this. And then we send it off to RT for their review. Any questions or comments on that?
Hey, I'm unmuting here. So.
Can you hear me? Okay. Robert, I have 2 comments and on your statements. First, on the scope of work, I think that since I've been working, because this is not from, 6 months ago, this is, from way back, even before you actually arrived. So we were working on this project, and I was making sure that we actually follow the right specifications and the RSP process. So for me, it's really critical that at this point, you join and you jump to talk with the contractor directly without counting my input on that, because I see that not only the shingles is being flattened, also the metal work. And I'm not talking about the drip edge, I'm talking about the facial metal work that is also completely, like out of the contract. The other thing is that when we discuss about a temporary solution, which by the way, I actually suggested way back, but it wasn't part of the table at that moment. So fine, that we are actually get the temporary solution now that we are, getting into the rainy season. But this cannot be for us an urgency to actually take decisions, cutting and flattening things, because we need to actually understand that this is a capital investment project. This is not an emergency project that we actually have to take decision because whatever. And I wanted to make sure, because when we talk about the temporary solution, you came up with a cost not to exceed of about $8,000, which sounds reasonable. But when I see the contract, I see only cost per hour, like $65 per hour. For me, this is a red flag. And I think Alan actually, make a contribution here. We need to understand that we have a cost not to exceed, because we don't want to have any surprise, since we are working with austerism, with budget constraints. So for me, this is something that I see the comment, I see the urgency, and I see that everything is happening at the last minute and we are not proactive on that. So if we actually put a cost not to exceed, I will feel, at least myself, with my experience, more comfortable on that. For the sake of the material specification, RSP process, and all what needs to do with the roof improvement, we need to talk about it, because there's still need to understand how we're going to work with the contractor and submittals and working a schedule. So these are the part that we need to, maybe you don't understand because you are not on the trade, but I actually will encourage and will ask you to including me in all your conversation, because I've been working a lot on this, and I think this is completely, disrespectful that you are not getting into the right channel when you are making solutions and decisions along with the board and also with the lawyers. So I really would like to understand, because the contract that you passed wasn't really a contract that I really would like to see on the terms and the decisions.
Fair enough. And I think in that aspect, your opinion is important and your input is
It should be addressed. Know that you actually send an email and then read it and then overlook on whatever decision it is. Your decision is as important as mine, and we need to combine, because I don't have any problem working with RT and working on the terms, but we need to understand that we're not gonna flatten this project. We're gonna improve our community, because it's your house, it's my house, it's our house.
Okay, can I add something to this? So what he said, I agree with certain things. Let's divide it into two separate things. This is not an emergency project, 100% correct.
correct.
But we are getting into an emergency situation that still means that we cannot cut corners, okay? So these are two separate things. One thing is securing the roof, temporary secure, which should be addressed completely separate than the agreement. On that, I think we all agree, no?
Yeah.
Okay. And now regarding the cap of $8,000, it's good, but also I made a calculation. Yes.
It is in the neighborhood.
No, it is in the neighborhood. But you can add it, but realistically, it's $120 an hour for two people. Let's say they work 2 days on this. 3 days. Can you do a calculation? 3 days, 6 hours, 120 times 6. Okay, so even if they work 3 days, full 3 days, it's gonna be like $4,000. If they work 5 days to do that, it's gonna be how much?
What about, he guaranteed that it's gonna be no more than $8,000, so that's why I say cost not to exceed.
No, that's fine. So that's
Either you do it for 8,000 or
okay,
else.
okay, but that's a minor issue that
We need to go with the contractor. I understand the pressure, and I understand that, he doesn't wanna be running away from us. I think that we need to take the control because the contractor is not decided the way we're gonna live because he live,
Okay,
he do
please,
the project and we're gonna leave it
let
forever.
me finish my points, okay? All right, so regarding the rest of the agreement. Your input is very important, and we already asked you for the bullets. I asked you for the bullets again today. You said that maybe you're gonna share it with us. The reality is, and I'm gonna put things on the table, for at least from my end, not everybody is gonna sit in the negotiation and speak with the GC, because we don't want him to run away. Each person has here egos and has here certain ways they talk. And if you're going to address the guy the way you're speaking, he's gonna run away. So this is why you need to send this in writing. We need to work on it together, and one point of contact or 2 point of contact with the GC, and that's it. Not everybody's gonna sit with the GC to negotiate.
Well, you're not the one saying that.
I'm not
actually
saying-
want to
I'm
say
not
that you're
deciding, but-
disqualifying my persona. I have enough expertise on this in order for this,
But
this negotiation.
you have
don't
expertise,
know
but you don't have
exactly my
expertise.
trade, and you cannot base and judge based on my personality that is not going to fly. What I'm
That's
actually
exactly
telling
what
that
I'm
the
doing.
contract, been actually doing this for more than 25 years, and I've been dealing with different kind of contractor. I know exactly how to manage in between, but this is not going to be a position for you guys to take and decide whether if it's going to be filtered through me, because I need to actually have established a connection with them and understand exactly where they're coming from and understand the situation.
I'm sorry,
because I'm
Alfredo,
the one managing the RSP, managing the specification, and I'm the one that I need to actually working with them.
Look, when you talk about special metals or flattened shingles, and you made an assumption that these boards
Put
flattened
it-
shingles.
Put it towards you.
When you made.
Are you unmuted?
Here. So I think. So facial metal and shingles are not gonna be flattened. Nobody's against the facial metals. So even when you mentioned and made an assumption in this meeting, and an accusation when you were talking, now you guys are going to flatten, that is not true. So I'm pro the facial metal. Everybody's pro not having the flatten of the shingles. Can I speak? Can I speak? Can I speak? Can I? That is not a contract. Alfredo, that is not a contract. That's why the contract is now going to Avi. It's gonna be written, etc. And we need all those points to be present there.
This is the last email that Robert sent
Alfredo.
to us.
So I cannot speak. Okay, so if I cannot speak, okay.
Alfredo, anything that is not written down is not legally binding. So your points need to be written down. They need to be captured. This is up in time, this is my contract.
That was not the contract, so you're not.
So let's, at the end of the day, let's put it into the contract. To your point, the contract version 1 happened on Friday, correct? Let's start with version 1. Make it fix. From there, the only unfortunate part of that is it takes time, which is a resource that we're very short at. So let's try to execute on that quickly, right? Provide your feedback to the contract that we're.
Provided that existing contract, but the contract was sending exactly, you know.
And that is not the contract. So when you mentioned 3 things. You mentioned the bond, you mentioned the materials, and then you mentioned the letter to decide to the other guys. So obviously we're gonna communicate to, also we have decided that we are not gonna communicate to anybody until we have the process completed. Anything can happen. We saw it with the property manager. We were about to sign and received an email from the property manager said, we don't wanna work with the Leeward Point. Okay, so we need to be very sensitive. Whenever we sign the contract, we communicate to the other ones. In terms of the bond and materials.
Say something in the contract.
No. That would be my recommendation not to sign. So bonds and materials, we need to ensure they are there. And then you mentioned another point, which is the work submittals process. Let's include there what's gonna be the work that we are comfortable there. We need to put it in the contract. In terms of that's just one thing. In terms of I go, let's say that probably the ideal person to cover and securing of the roof would be the roofer. Because he's going to be the one that in the next 5, 6, 7 months, he needs to guarantee that we don't have any type of water intrusion. So I think it's a clause that we're gonna have this guy that is gonna be responsible for the roofs, securing it, because it's the guy that's gonna be here. Imagine that we hire another one, and then suddenly the guy doesn't say, this guy did it wrong way, and then. So once again,
Dorset.
if we wanna force too much the bar on the 8,000 or 9,000 or 7,000 or whatever, we can do it. Are we forcing the bar in the right place? That will be my question. Because I think now we have one person that is gonna be responsible from end to end, for whatever happens in the street.
You capture all the things that people comments on the board, and that's exactly what I'm coming from, the same point, because when I hear the conversation, when, you know, like Robert assured that no matter what, the price is gonna be 8,000, so say fine. But if I hear that, and that's exactly what I say, listen, Robert, put cost not to exceed 8,000, if the agreement, he said, no, it's not gonna cost more than $8,000. So fine, let's do it.
Okay,
If we
that's not
actually
the
didn't
main
agree
point.
on that, or say that.
Do you know my position on that? In certain contracts like this one, fighting for 500, 700, it can be even 5,000 or 6,000. And starting picky on those 500 or 705 sets the wrong tone for a guy that is going to charge us 1.1 million.
Well, that wasn't my conversation, because I didn't actually was part of it, but you know, what I see the result is that we can do it, and they can guarantee that, no, it's not gonna be more than 8,000.
So, but we're going to be picky on that sentence and starting the tone on that sense. When we have an 8,000 thing pop, and then we have 1.1 million.
Because I don't have the whole information, just exactly that, because it was part of the conversation. Perhaps I will say something.
The conversation.
I wasn't part of the conversation. Nobody was part of the conversation.
A contract with only, you know, just a cost and a salary, you know, just included. For me, it's like, they can sit down these people for hours and then, you know, like
You know what they have taken the most stupid decision in our lives. So we have 4 people make proposals, we interview all of them for hours, we analyze all the proposals. And if they send somebody to the city for 20, it will mean that we are all stupid, because we hire people just to sit here. Do you believe that we are those type of people? So sorry, Alfred. You believe they're gonna stand in the beginning of the work, they just gonna be sitting here?
So let's stop this, you know, because we have a life, and so let's move on. Okay, once we get an agreement, we'll give it to the lawyer, the lawyer is gonna put all the aspects in, whatever we regarding material,
Alfredo.
we should put that in, because the lawyer
doesn't know that. No, we definitely need to have a submeeting, because it's not what
Alfredo,
the gonna put for us, it's whatever the community.
But now you need to specify, because I don't know anything about work.
Yeah,
So it's very interesting.
I'm going to work with the supplier that do certain thing, not only it's the TL.
All others, shingles material. And ask the price, because that price that
all the estimates are inaccurate. And I can actually give you the because $10,000 per building for the upgrade, it doesn't resound like what we have out there. So I'm gonna take that opportunity to talk with them and tell them exactly why is that one of the regional managers of a certain team that actually have the supply. Okay.
Okay, let's move on.
You know, like
At least follow and create the last, you know, decision before we actually make sure that we're gonna take, you know, the right material.
Within 1.2 million.
Yeah.
No, definitely, we need to actually do it. 1.2 or.
There's no.
Okay.
No.
in 1.2 or whatever it's gonna cost
Of the roof, do you think that the shingles are a big proportion? The shingles are cheap.
They are not, but when you have fixed costs that cannot be avoided, like roofing the roofs, then at the end of the day, you can play the game with the money that you need to play the game. And Valley Bank started with 800,000. We went to 1.2 after negotiation. They don't go beyond. And right now, we are putting over the owners of the Leeward Point 2 special assessments to do the roofs. And some people will pay 1.4.
that first assessment was completely lost because it was horrendous, it was.
But once again, it's 1.2 that you have.
Quality and the outcome of the project. That's my main concern, because if you care about number,
I don't care about the number, I just say that we have a wall in front of us, then you cannot plus the wall, so it's like, okay, then you.
to work with the contractor to provide the best solution, because it is.
Yes, almost.
Okay, that's almost.
Can we
Can
move
we move
on?
on? Yeah. Okay.
Robert,
Robert,
are you
you
still there?
there?
Can you hear me? Okay,
All
I
right.
suffered through that not being able to talk. The really at the end of the day, we've all had the opportunity to provide input on the proposal. There was a first proposal, there was a revised proposal. And going into that conversation, it was no other input. So if the metal fascia is not there in the contract, when Avi sends it to us, then Alfredo, I need you to email us and say the metal fascia, according to the specs, needs to be in there. So then I can forward that to RT and say, hey, we went through the analysis, we compared it to our specs, and we noticed, according to the specs, the metal fascia was not in there. We need that included. So it's not, we don't want to do a, what do you call it? A trick on you. Aha, got you. Now we want to include this for you. We're going back to our specs. So just, there's no point in talking further about this until we get it from Avi. Once we get it from Avi, we turn around and we email each other internally, not back to Avi. We email internally to each other what our input is. We consolidate that. And then if it's easy to just put in, then we just put it in and send it off to our team. Okay?
Oh, sorry. So basically, the best temporary protection would be the same roofer doing the work, and also gave us the best price. And we got 3 quotes. One quote was close to one quote was like close to 10,000. The other one was, I think, 12,000, and this one is under 8,000, which is great.
Couple of months ago, that didn't even do the entire roof.
No, I actually revised that proposal with them, but I came up with 15,000 instead. Forget it.
Okay, so basically, we got the best for the best price as well. All right, any update on the 50-year recertification?
I have a question. You mentioned about the 31 May as the deadline. Are we still facing that?
No, I went to the city and I spoke with the city clerks, and they told me that they understood our situation, that we are in the middle of construction. So for that, they say the most important thing is to keep the permits open. Whatever requires permit, it's going to be monitored by the due date, the expiration date. So I think it's 6 months. So I think that for the roof, I think that we have 6 months, and I believe the due date is June, sometimes in June, middle of June or the end of June. So we need to actually pay the fee for extension, because if we left that past due, then we need to actually pay for the whole permit, which is about like 300 plus. So it's about $140 per extension per permit, and I think that we have 6 for the roof. So for the electrical, I'm not quite sure, because that is already installed and dismantled. So to put it back, I don't think that we need a city inspection. So we need to talk with the contractor and see how they're going to address working around this electrical.
You're talking about the illumination.
The lanterns. So if we need to contact the electrician. I don't know who did that job or.
But what's the
job.
problem with the lights? The lights, they were requested when we did the 40 years. And it was installed when we did 40 years.
They have to put it.
They just have to put it back. So we already have
For
some
the
kind of.
50 years, they needed to have parking illumination and general illumination.
No, we have parking illumination.
Yeah, but that was on the 50-year certification, and we already passed that section for building 1, 4 in Clubhouse. The building 2 and building 3, since the lanterns are disconnected, so they cannot actually approve. So once we finish the project and we mount the lighting, is when the engineer is gonna come to inspect and to actually certify that the roof.
But let me ask you a question.
Is passed.
What he's saying is the
I-
roofer is gonna be responsible then if something goes wrong,
I
or they
under-
don't pass, he will be responsible for making sure it's
Yes.
passed.
I understand, but we passed the 40 years, and the 40 years.
It's a different situation. It's a different
You're saying you
certification.
passed it once, what's the problem?
We passed it 10 years ago, and we installed all these new lights for
Yeah.
that looks like daylight, in all our parking lot. They also can come and see the other 2 buildings that are not, how it's illuminating. Based on that, plus the fact we already did the certification, these lights are new. They were installed, they were installed, I would say 6 years ago.
No, that was.
7 years ago.
2007.
No, they were not installed in 2007. I moved here in 2015. The lights were installed after.
2017, I'm sorry, 2017.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
2017.
Okay, so it was installed 2017, less than 10 years ago. I don't see here an issue.
50
I don't
years.
see here an issue where they're gonna say, passing.
There, I think they checked,
mean,
it's
we-
almost like a moment in
No,
time.
50-year certification includes lighting,
I'm not arguing what it includes. I'm just saying,
thermographic.
it's an item that was done.
And electrical, but that's a requirement that the engineer have to do. So they did for what it was working right now for building 1, 4 in Clubhouse, but they need to come back because they need to photograph and then do the measure at night. And there was some concern that I had because of this type of lighting. They say, well, the type of lighting is because this is treated as a parking garage, not as a condominium. The condominium, it doesn't have, like a parking, like a space for itself. So therefore, you need that level of illumination. And that's what I learned, that this is the type of light required because we fall into under parking space garage. So
My one worry is if these lights are due for the 50-year recertification, we're extending that 50-year recertification deadline, right?
yeah, and it's gonna finish when we actually have when we finish the roof. But he said, once you got the building 2 and 3 done and the lights are putting back, I go take the picture, make the note, and then the electrical part will be done because we already approved.
And then the light will also work for the cracks in the walls and for the unit.
That's a structural. So the structural is easy. What the Claire said today to me is saying, I don't need bits and pieces. I just need the whole submittal in one time. I'm not going to say bits and pieces. And that is understood by the engineer, it's understood by me today. So I say it's gonna take a while because the engineer told him on email, and I actually was there and have a conversation with him and say, I don't care, as long as you keep the permits open and updated, we don't have any problem.
The cracks until being closed.
We can actually pay years. As long as we pay our extension for the permit, it's all okay.
Okay, good.
You
And the same thing.
understood?
Yes, and for the unit owners, the same thing. We need to communicate. with the owners, they have to solve.
Okay, the only thing that is actually, I think that I sent an email to all you guys was on the structural part, there's 2 items that we need to address. One is the shed on unit 29 in here. And the canopy on 33, which is 33, which is Elena. So those are commented, and I already spoke with the engineer, and then the engineer sent us an email with a recommendation. We need to talk with our lawyer because this is a community issue, but the city will require, even though it's not important for the certification, that comment is already there. So that means that the owner needs to update that illegality, that area, in order for us to avoid any further liability with the condominium, because he say, this is not required for my report, but since I already made the comment, the city will understand that you guys have something that is illegal, and in case of hurricane and something fly and damage the property, so the condominium association will have a liability. So that's the only thing that you need to take care with your lawyer, your community lawyer, and then make sure that each unit owner work on that and resolve
Just the two, 29 and 35.
Okay.
it. And 30.
Okay,
30,
did you get any update on the termites? Like, I think you mentioned you had somebody for termites.
Well, I spoke with Kavala Hines, and he told me that he's going to send me the phone number of the company that they are using for the termites. But at this point, I need to actually knock at the door, because he said, I sent it. And I said, I sent an email, can you send me the phone number? So it's been very difficult.
I started to have termites in my.
You have?
They're all.
You're all over the place. Well, that is why we need to tackle it right now.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, so
Diana,
if we call the company.
can you call for companies?
We can also do like terminates, like.
Exactly, let's check.
Well, that
But
company-
we're looking for companies without, otherwise everybody needs to move out.
You want the ones that are like spray.
Spray. Well, that's the company that Kavala.
But first we need a evaluation of,
Normally.
yeah, but they need to pinpoint where they are, if there's a structure that needs to be removed, all this stuff.
Yeah, because it could be ground as well, like they could.
Yeah,
think
ground.
about ground dwelling, which I suspect might be living under that,
Under docks, under decks.
the big deck over there, or multiple. Maybe they do like an inspection of the entire community, they tell us their recommendation.
Another bad news, we are packed with snakes.
Yeah, but the snakes are good, yeah.
No, snakes are good. Those
These are great. These are
The black ones, the black one, yeah.
the blacks.
The black one, yeah, they're eating the roaches.
That's good.
That's what I don't like snakes.
Also, that's space. I never-
Yeah, we have.
No, they're really scared, and they don't bite, they don't.
Yeah, these are garden snakes, they're good.
Please, don't kill it, and the frog, they don't kill it.
Frog I love.
Okay, so we got that. Yeah.
The only thing I agree with the permitting is, are we okay? I don't want us to be exceeding a permit timing and then get in trouble for any reason with the city, all the permits.
Well, the permits are,
Typically extended.
there is an access, and that's exactly what I needed to talk with you guys. So you have the access for the city, right?
I sent a link regarding
We have,
but that's,
I believe that we have, because
Yeah.
if that, we can actually go to the permit and see exactly the due date. I believe it's June, it's the next month. So we need to just make sure
but
that
anybody
we
can
pay,
go in and check.
that we pay 1 week before the due date, and there's a validation of 6 months.
I suspect.
So 6 months.
I think multiple permits. So you're talking about the 50-year reason.
There is a master, and there is a few other permits for the roof. The city clerk told me if we need to have a permit for the recertification, because, that we have some problem with the structure, which we have to be blessed, because the structural guy didn't do any major comment that we need to actually apply for permit. And he said, you have minor thermal cracks, and that is easy
You need
to.
a permit, right?
You don't need a permit for that. The
Right.
only thing is the shed and the canopy, that needs to have a permit, but that needs to be sold by the unit owners. And for the electrical, we don't need a permit.
That's right.
Okay, and one more item, we need to vote on the engineer for the enclosures. So I just before the meeting, I spoke with her. I brought her down $500 more per unit, so it's $2,000 less overall. Yeah.
Not ACG.
No, so she's okay with that. She sent the proposal. I'll circulate it, but I think we can vote. It's $5,000 per unit. So
But I mean, how can she, get to that number? It's a mighty number for us. It's a mighty number.
That's wrong.
Okay, so what's
I
in,
mean, for me, when I look at the estimate, I say, well, I'm just wondering, why it is, because my permit wasn't 5,000.
okay,
And it's enclosure, and if I disclose that, I don't want to.
can I, okay. So she does the drawings of what's there right now, what's existing
Yeah.
as built, okay? Then she has an engineer that's, signs for it. The engineer is charging her. It's per signature he charges. She's an architect. She does all the drawings. Engineers need to approve it, okay? Yeah, and yeah, exactly. And it doesn't include the cost. It doesn't include the cost of permitting, obviously. It doesn't include whatever the city charges. That does not include.
The importance
If
of sign and
we
seal
need,
of an engineer is a big responsibility, and that is not taken for granted. So for that,
I wanna let you finish this, so she creates the drawings of what is there. Therefore, if what is there is not legal, she takes no liability for that.
no. So if what's there, it's not legal, then the city will not approve it. Then the engineer will make the recommendations of what needs to be done in order to be approved by the city. And then, I mean, they're gonna redesign it to be by code, and then it's gonna be the responsibility of the unit owner to do the work,
To match the drawing.
to do the work. For example, I can tell
so you're
you
gonna have the as-built drawings and also the design.
revisions.
The by code.
Revisions,
Yeah.
if it needs to be redesigned by code, what needs to be done, and then the unit owner needs to do it or bring it to
So
original.
you're basically creating the
Yeah, I mean,
facilitating the design for them.
as long as they're including that second part, that they're going to share with the owner what is
Oh.
required to get it to code, and do the drawings of what that. code
Exactly, exactly. And also, and I can tell you right now, the two enclosures that are in the middle, those windows are not impact windows. So 100% for sure,
requires.
in order to legalize it, yeah, so 100%, they will have to do impact windows. There's no doubt about it.
I'm not
That's what
even
it
concerned about the window type, even like where they're located.
Yeah,
the code.
so okay, so we voted on that. Are we in line?
And then up to each owner, if they wanna pay it or not.
No, the only thing, is that there are several unit owners that already made a contract, a one-to-one with them, and we are, so we have.
Three, we have three.
Okay,
So, and we are covering that cost, so the owner doesn't pay twice those 5,000, whatever comes above the 5,000.
why are we doing that?
Because there are two unit owners that paid
The previous engineer,
Okay, that sounds like a them problem.
yes, it is a them problem, but at the same time, they were
Led to believe that he was.
rushed by the previous
And at the same time,
administration.
We took the decision to adopt the absolute pro, so at least that we were saying, or we said in the past that we're gonna cover that.
And in the future, we might recoup that. Yeah, in the future, we might recoup that from
And
what.
hopefully that-
So that's what we hope.
It will come at a cost, right? Legal fees.
Yes, yes.
$5,000.
Obviously, but anyways,
Because.
there's much more than that. The 5,000 is the change.
So now the even better news, the owner paid in the association. So for the 29 and for.
No, only one.
And the one confirmed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Only one you pay twice.
We paid the 29 twice, and then we paid the 2.5.
Didier paid twice.
But the other did not pay.
Didier paid twice.
No, he paid once, we paid
and
once.
we paid once. So the guy got 2 times.
Yeah.
That needs to come with a legal.
And the other-
By the way, the
Esther.
cladding, that cladding, when we need to talk with her, we need to, create a letter.
Esther has termites.
Yeah, but I mean, that part of the cladding that is falling needs to be repaired. And I don't know if this is gonna be ordered, because this is not part of the,
That's the owner.
and you're gonna have that.
I'm gonna try to speak with her son.
So the
Because-
approval that you're requesting now is for the association to cover 5,000
Sure.
times how many units?
Times 4.
Times 4.
Well,
Minus the
minus-
owners that is going to pay for this, Esther is gonna pay
Yeah.
for it, and we still don't know.
So actually it's 3 times 3.
It's, I don't know, because we already received the confirmation of 2 or a confirmation of 3.
No, we got confirmation from 3, they paid the 5,000.
Okay, then it's.
I need to see the confirmation of the 3. I need to see the confirmation of the 3. And I need to understand that we're gonna pay only for the ones that pay, not to that.
I agree, because
the
what
guys.
stops me from
Not the
saying, yeah.
guys. Sorry, that it's not going to be the.
Okay, I agree. It has to be only for those that
That have
pay.
means of payment, I would say.
Yeah, proof of payment.
Yes, agreed.
Okay, we're good?
I still think we're being very kind.
Yes, we are very kind.
Being very kind.
Okay, and
I'm happy to report.
okay, point 7, we're gonna, it was here by mistake, unit 1. There's nothing else to add to that, this moment. Robert, are we good? We're done? Anything else you want to say?
No, just sorry, I can't be there. Again, Diana, welcome to the board. We're excited to have you. Thank you all for your work. Remember, we're getting the contract back from Avi later this week, so let's review that and provide input so we can turn that around quickly.
Joe.
Okay, and how do you say good night in
The
Dutch?
meeting with the lawyer, I'm sorry.
Goedenavond.
With the two
Good
things
enough.
that I sent.
Okay, are we adjourned?
The meeting with the lawyer.
We are adjourned.
All right, we adjourned. Thank you,
Stop
everybody. Bye.
recording.
Stop recording. Bye-bye.
Stop recording.